today we'll be starting a new chapter, that is a chapter number 3, which is a motion in a plane. Okay, so chapter number 3 we'll be starting about the motion in a plane. So this motion in a plane, it is mostly based on the vectors part. What are the vectors, or what are the different types of vectors related with it, what are the terms related with the vectors, and how to do the calculation, whether addition, whether your subtraction, whether your product, how to do a vector calculations and all. These are all given in these chapters. So this is also important for the class 12 maths also. So try to go through the video properly, and if you have any doubt regarding this, you can ask me. Okay, first of all, I'll start with the vectors. Now we know that the physical quantities can be divided into two parts. One is a scalar quantity, the second one is a vector quantity. So the scalar quantity, as everyone knows, is a quantity which has only value and does not have any direction. But if you consider a vector quantity, it has both value and also has a direction. And if you consider the vector quantity, as I've already told, these have both magnitude and also direction. What do you mean by that? Magnitude means a physical quantity having a value and also has a certain direction. Like suppose if I consider force is equals to 5 Newton. Here 5 is its magnitude, and the direction everyone knows in which direction. Suppose if I push an object towards this side, towards the right hand side, so the direction of the force will be towards the right hand side. But if I consider mass, okay, mass, if I consider, I don't tell the mass that I put the mass on this side. Mass does not have any direction. Similarly, time as also does not have any direction. Okay, so we need to find out about what are the different types of vectors. Vectors can be divided into two parts. One is your axial vector, the other one is your polar vector. First I'll start with the polar vector. Polar vector is like a vector in which, suppose you are moving along a direction, suppose you are moving towards the right hand side, and the vector quantity, like suppose if you consider velocity, in which direction you are moving, obviously your velocity also will be directing towards that side. Clear? Similarly, you can consider displacement also, acceleration also. A physical quantity or a vector quantity which moves along the direction of the motion or along parallel to the direction of the motion, we consider that as a polar vector. Okay, like for example, the polar vector, we have the velocity, we have the acceleration, we have the displacement. These are all polar vectors. Same way, if I go for the axial vectors is like this. Like suppose if you consider a fan, or you can consider a top that we used to play. So the fan has an axis at the middle, okay, has a rod in the middle, and the blades used to move towards on the sides. Okay, blades used to move towards the sides. But if you consider the middle part does not change its position. That means the rod does not change its position. That is called as the axis of the fan. That axis does not move, but the remaining part it used to move towards in the middle of the rod. This type of particles which has a fixed axis of rotation, okay, this vector quantity which has a fixed axis of rotation and the axis of rotation does not move, these are called as a axial vector. Like for suppose if we are considering your person is moving in a circular path, how will you know that how much distance the person has moved? I'll be considering this as a circular path. The person is moving from here to suppose here. How will you know that how much distance it has moved? For calculating that distance or the displacement, we need to find out with respect to the center. How will you calculate? Suppose if this is a center, the person is moving from here to here. This can be calculated only by using the angle, how much it has moved. Okay, this theta is nothing but an axial vector, and this is your angular displacement. Same way here we have considered a displacement, here we consider that as an angular. Difference between polar and axial is that polar is along the straight direction and the axial is considered in a circular motion. Okay, that is a difference. So here any term that will be related here, that is velocity, acceleration, displacement, all will be written in the axial vector also, but that will be written in the form of angular displacement, angular acceleration, angular velocity. It will be written in that way. Angular displacement is represented by theta, angular acceleration is represented by alpha, and angular velocity is represented by omega. This will be coming across this. Just remember that these are all same like the velocity, acceleration and displacement, but these are considered in terms of angular. Okay. So next, that the topic that we are going to discuss about the different types of vectors.